The world is a tinderbox, and Representative Jasmine Crockett's scorching CNN takedown of former President Donald Trump is the spark that could ignite a global reckoning. By branding Trump a white supremacist, she's not just calling out a leader, she's exposing the venom of nationalism that's poisoning nations from Washington to Warsaw, Delhi to Dakar. Like a fault line cracking under pressure, this ideology fractures international unity, turning allies into adversaries and cooperation into conflict. This script, grounded in Crockett's unapologetic critique, dives deep into the tensions tearing nations apart, using 2024's latest statistics to reveal a planet on the brink. This isn't just about US politics, it's a warning for the world. Across 4 expanded chapters, we'll dissect accusations of racism, catastrophic diplomatic appointments, the corrosive power of misinformation, and the high-stakes clash between nationalism and unity. Crockett's voice is a lighthouse in a storm, guiding us through the chaos toward hope. Her words challenge us to confront the forces dividing humanity, from trade wars to cultural clashes. Join us as we navigate this volatile landscape, where rhetoric shapes destinies, and the fight for inclusivity could rewrite the future. The stakes are nothing less than the soul of global democracy. Let's uncover the truth together. Jasmine Crockett's CNN bombshell exposes Trump's dangerous ideology. She called him a white supremacist on live TV. But this isn't just about Trump. It's a global crisis threatening every nation. When Crockett declared, "We have a white supremacist sitting in the White House, backed by other white supremacists," she didn't just throw a punch, she unleashed a tsunami. Her accusation is a beacon, exposing a grim reality. Nationalism, veiled in racial superiority, is a global contagion. Like a plague spreading through a weakened body, it erodes trust, turning nations against each other. From far-right surges in Europe to ethnocentric policies in Asia and Africa, this ideology threatens the very fabric of international cooperation, from trade pacts to peacekeeping missions. Crockett's evidence is unyielding. She points to Trump's appointment of Darren Beattie, a former speechwriter linked to white nationalist groups, to a critical State Department role. Beattie's 2024 tweet, claiming, "Competent white men must be in charge," isn't just a personal view. It's a manifesto echoing exclusionary movements globally. The Southern Poverty Law Center, 2023, reported a 15% surge in US white nationalist groups, with parallel spikes in Germany, 12%, France, 10%, and South Africa, 8% rise in ethnocentric violence, 2024. These numbers scream a harsh truth. A global wave of ideologies elevating one group over others is dismantling the bridges of diplomacy. Imagine a real-world parallel, a city where one district demands supremacy over the rest. The result is discord, not unity. When leaders like Trump promote figures who champion racial hierarchies, they sabotage global relations. Picture Beattie negotiating with leaders from Nigeria, India, or Japan. His rhetoric is a barricade, not a doorway, alienating 60% of UN member states led by non-white or female leaders. UN 2024. The World Bank 2024 noted a 10% drop in cross-border investments tied to nationalist policies, costing economies billions. Crockett's accusation is a battle cry. If nationalism festers, it risks isolating nations, like ships lost in a tempest, unable to find shore. Crockett's fight is for global unity. Her challenge to white supremacy mirrors resistance worldwide, from Germany's anti-far-right protests to India's push against divisive laws. Like a lighthouse piercing the fog, her voice urges nations to reject exclusion and embrace diversity. In 2024, 81% of global citizens supported multicultural policies, World Values Survey, a sign that hope persists. Crockett's stand is a reminder: the fight against division is a fight for the world's future. Trump's latest appointment could unravel America's global influence. He picked Darren Beattie, a man fired for white nationalist ties. This isn't just a bad hire, it's a spark that could ignite international chaos. The appointment of Darren Beattie as Undersecretary of State for Public Diplomacy is a diplomatic disaster, and Crockett's response is a clarion call: Beattie needs to go. His 2024 tweet, bemoaning the coddling of women and minorities while mourning demoralized white men, isn't just offensive, it's a wrecking ball aimed at America's allies. In a world where 60% of UN member states are led by non-white or female leaders, UN 2024, Beatty's words are a direct insult to partners in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. This is like sending a wolf to negotiate with lambs. The outcome is devastation. Beatty's history amplifies the outrage. Fired in 2018 for attending a white nationalist conference, his return to a high-profile role signals Trump's reckless embrace of controversy. This mirrors global trends. In Hungary, far-right figures have secured cabinet posts, while in India, critics decry the ruling party's ethnocentric allies. The Center for Strategic and International Studies, 2024, reports a 20% surge in diplomatic tensions linked to nationalist appointees across 15 nations since 2020, from stalled trade talks to severed cultural ties. Crockett's critique exposes the hypocrisy. Trump's anti-DEI rhetoric clashes with his promotion of troubled white men like Beatty, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, linked to alcohol abuse and a payoff scandal, and Sean Duffy, Secretary of Transportation, a polarizing ex-Fox host. This double standard resonates globally. In Brazil, leaders face distrust for similar contradictions, while in France, far-right favoritism sparks protests. It's a cracked mirror reflecting a world where unity is preached but division is practiced, undermining the trust needed for global harmony. The metaphor is stark. Beatty's appointment is like handing a pyromaniac a flamethrower. Diplomacy thrives on respect, but his rhetoric alienates partners, kindling distrust. In 2024, 45% of African nations reduced diplomatic ties with countries seen as racially exclusionary. African Union report, a trend Beatty's role could worsen. Crockett's outrage is a global mandate. Nations must reject leaders who prioritize ideology over competence or risk a world where alliances crumble like sandcastles before a tidal wave. In 2024, 65% of global diplomats cited trust as the top barrier to cooperation, UN survey, underscoring the urgency of her call. Crockett exposes Trump's allies as threats to democracy. She calls them Putin puppets, spreading dangerous lies. These aren't just US problems, they're fueling global chaos. Crockett's searing attack on Trump's congressional allies, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, as Putin puppets peddling misinformation, is a masterstroke against a global scourge. She accuses them of spreading lies that cripple democracy, from false claims about Hamas using US weapons to narratives blocking aid for Ukraine. Misinformation is a silent assassin, like a poison seeping into the veins of public trust. In 2024, the Pew Research Center found 65% of Americans believe misinformation sways elections, with parallel fears in Brazil, 70%, India, 60%, and Nigeria, 55%. Crockett's examples are chilling. Greene's propagation of Russian-style propaganda, like suggesting US weapons aid ends up with terrorists, mirrors tactics to erode support for Ukraine. This isn't just a domestic issue. Disinformation ignites global chaos, from South Africa's 2021 riots, fueled by false social media claims, to Myanmar's ethnic violence, amplified by state-sponsored lies. The 2024 Global Disinformation Index estimates $500 billion in global economic losses due to misinformation, from disrupted trade to delayed aid. Crockett's message is clear. When leaders lie, the world pays the price. The metaphor is gripping. Misinformation is a fog shrouding a battlefield, leaving nations disoriented and vulnerable. In Congress, Crockett highlights the collapse of a bipartisan border security bill in 2024, killed by House Republicans fueled by false narratives. Globally, disinformation stalls progress. In the EU, lies derailed 2024 climate initiatives, while in Latin America, vaccine misinformation cost thousands of lives. Crockett's demand for accountability is a global imperative, urging leaders to combat lies with truth, like firefighters battling a wildfire. Crockett's fight targets trust's erosion. By tying Greene's rhetoric to Russian propaganda, she exposes how domestic lies amplify international threats. In 2024, NATO reported a 30% rise in hybrid warfare tactics, including disinformation, targeting democracies. Her resolve is a beacon for nations struggling to clear the fog. In 2024, 80% of global citizens demanded stronger anti-disinformation laws, Edelman Trust Barometer, signaling a world ready to fight back. Crockett's fight against Trump is a battle for the world's soul. She links his allies to neo-Nazis and global extremism. This isn't just America's fight, it's a global stand against division. Crockett's powerful argument, Trump and his allies threaten democracy with racism, hypocrisy, and extremism, resounds far beyond U.S. borders. Her reference to January 6th rioters as neo-Nazis ties domestic extremism to a global surge in hate. In 2024, the Anti-Defamation League reported a 25% rise in U.S. hate crimes, mirrored by a 30% surge in Europe and 15% in Asia. This isn't just data, it's a warning that nationalism is a spark that can ignite global conflict, like a match in a powder keg. The metaphor is vivid. Nationalism is a feud spiraling into a citywide riot. When leaders prioritize one group, they alienate others, fracturing alliances. In 2024, the UN warned that nationalist policies could derail 50% of global climate goals by 2030, as nations retreat into isolation. Crockett's critique of Trump's migrant deportations, which triggered an 8% drop in his approval ratings, Gallup 2024, reflects resistance that echoes globally. In Germany, 1 million protested far-right policies in 2024, while in India, opposition rallied against divisive laws. Crockett's hope lies in defiance. Her fearless leadership, from hearings to CNN, is a lighthouse guiding nations through chaos. She challenges not just Trump, but a global trend of divisive leaders. In 2024, 40% of global conflicts were tied to ethnocentric policies, UN Peacekeeping Report, from Sudan's ethnic strife to China's territorial disputes. Crockett's fight is a microcosm, a world choosing between division's darkness and unity's light. Her call is universal. Nations must reject nationalism's siren song and embrace inclusivity. Like a tapestry woven from diverse threads, global strength lies in cooperation. In 2024, 75% of global youth supported inclusive policies, UN Youth Survey, a sign of hope. Crockett's voice sparks change, reminding us that resistance can reshape the world, from Congress to global streets. Jasmine Crockett's unrelenting stand against Trump is a global rallying cry. Her accusations of white supremacy, condemnation of divisive appointments, and war on misinformation expose nationalism's fault lines, threatening international harmony. In 2024, 40% of global conflicts were linked to ethnocentric policies, UN, a grim reminder of the stakes. Like a riptide dragging nations apart, this ideology risks drowning diplomacy, trade, and security. Yet Crockett's courage offers hope. Her leadership mirrors global resistance, from Africa's push for equitable trade to Europe's battle against extremism. Like a phoenix rising from ashes, societies can rebuild by confronting lies and embracing diversity. Viewers, reflect. How can we amplify voices like Crockett's to heal a fractured world? Share your thoughts below and join the fight for unity. Subscribe for more deep dives into global tensions. What's your take on Crockett's stand? Comment now. Percent of global youth supported inclusive policies, UN Youth Survey, a sign of hope. Crockett's voice sparks change, reminding us that resistance can reshape the world, from Congress to global streets. Jasmine Crockett's unrelenting stand against Trump is a global rallying cry. Her accusations of white supremacy, condemnation of divisive appointments, and war on misinformation expose nationalism's fault lines, threatening international harmony. In 2024, 40% of global conflicts were linked to ethnocentric policies, UN, a grim reminder of the stakes. Like a riptide dragging nations apart, this ideology risks drowning diplomacy, trade, and security. Yet Crockett's courage offers hope. Her leadership mirrors global resistance, from Africa's push for equitable trade to Europe's battle against extremism. Like a phoenix rising from ashes, societies can rebuild by confronting lies and embracing diversity. Viewers, reflect. How can we amplify voices like Crockett's to heal a fractured world? Share your thoughts below and join the fight for unity. Subscribe for more deep dives into global tensions. What's your take on Crockett's stand? Comment now.